The colourful descriptions of bazaars from times and places yonder, the lucrative details of the exquisite items sold to the nobility, and the myriad dreams of the commoners have since made bazaars or markets bustling spaces that not only support commerce but also serve as a space for social gathering and interaction. What is a bazaar? According to the encyclopedia, a bazaar or souk is a marketplace consisting of multiple small stalls or shops, especially in the Middle East, the Balkans, North Africa, and South Asia. They are traditionally located in vaulted or covered streets that had doors on each end and served as a city's central marketplace.
Today, we are here to present a humble inquest on Beyond the Bustle of Bazaars of Bharat. I am Sonia Gupta and this is my co-author Somani Goswami. We must first talk about the aim of this research paper, which is all about probing the history of bazaars, having a closer look at some of them, and then coming out with some theoretical evaluation. The objectives are many, but we can say that they underline the analysis of socioeconomic and cultural significance, also to evaluate the factors contributing to the sustainability of these markets over time. The scope is limited in certain ways, but still it will lead to the evaluation of factors that have contributed to the longevity of these markets. And the limitations will rely on the constraints that we had in accessing comprehensive data for all the types of markets and their expanses. The methodology involves a qualitative research in the form of surveys involving as many stakeholders as possible, collection of data from newspapers, articles, previous research papers, and books. It would be primary on-site, which would mean observations carried down on the site itself and questionnaires distributed to stakeholders. Primary off-site would mean questionnaires floated via online platforms. And secondary sources would rely on journals, news articles, blogs, vlogs, and whatever is available as scholarly material.
Before we dive into bazaars of Bharat, let us try and understand the origins of it. The earliest settlement in India or Bharat or the Indian subcontinent is believed to be the Indus Valley civilization. There are many accounts of surplus produce during this period. Trade was an obvious outcome of the same. Accounts of trade with Romans have also been found with evidence. This gave rise to trade routes which, if we see in case of Iranian bazaars, was a major catapult for formalized bazaars. In India though, exchange of goods didn't necessarily give rise to formal market setups. Before 850 CE, though we find a lot of evidence of trade, physical or written evidence of specified areas or structures for markets or bazaars have not been found. Some local accounts of haats, which are temporary gatherings for selling goods, and perangadis have been found during the Chola dynasty. It's speculated that the idea of a formal bazaar came to India with the arrival of the Persian, also known as Delhi Sultanate. Example, Gadasha Market, Mandu. Bazaars gained momentum with the rise of the Mughals and traces of it can still be seen in northern India. Example, Meena Bazaar, Delhi, Ittar Market, Kannauj. With the arrival of the British, dedicated structures for markets were introduced in many parts of the country under their different presidencies. Example, Stuart Hogg Market, Kolkata, Crawford Market, Mumbai.
To find out the current scenario, we tried gathering as many secondary sources of information as possible to determine the list of bazaars that have survived for more than 100 years. From the above study, we shortlisted a few longest running bazaars which we could physically visit or had visited already. The first of them, Meena Bazaar, is one of the oldest continuously operational markets in India, in New Delhi this is. Next one, Maris Market in Lucknow, which is a British era market. Next, the Sir Stuart Hogg Market, which was called the New Market in Calcutta. The Koti Bazaar Market in Hyderabad, Telangana. This is one of the bazaars which has transformed so much over a period of 200 years that the historic significance has dwindled considerably. This is one of the oldest markets which is not bound by a single structure. This, Crawford Market, is another British market, perhaps the first one. We now move on to the Mahatma Jyotiba Phule Mandai, which is in Pune, another British market. In summary, we can see all these markets in the map of India. And with that, let's move on to the other aspects of a market.
Non-historic significance of bazaars. So one of the questions that were handed out to the people for primary survey was, do you like visiting the particular market? If yes, please choose a reason. So as we can see from this graph, the people have voted a lot for items available and food joints. Both of these items contribute to the tangible aspect of economy. Revenue is generated from both of these. The other tangible aspect is the architecture. As an architect, we definitely understand that the dedicated space for a market with their respective architectural styles are definitely very important for the spaces, as they also create an identity. The other non-historic significance of bazaar includes the intangible aspects, the aspects that can only be felt. As we can see here, we have highlighted the feel of place, which has been voted by a lot of people. So we asked, what, according to you, is the feel of a place? Also, in one of the researches, we also asked people if they can associate culture with that particular space. This was more or less the findings that we had. So sense of belonging and identity were very primary factors that people associate with intangible aspects, including significance of that space.
So, do we have an answer to why these markets have survived the test of time? We can look at some of the inferences that we have derived. The first is roots. Whether they are trade or non-trade, seem to play a vital role in keeping these markets alive. If we look at the routes that are depicted in this map, we see that major routes of the Mughal times are being shown. Some routes which developed in the early colonial times are being shown, as well as the routes in the late colonial period. Through all the routes, some of the markets have been kept alive, and we can understand that is through supply of goods and active footfall. Location could be related to routes, but also being a part of prominent cities in the country of India seem to have played an important role. And then we come to the articulation of spaces, our favorite topic, which means not only a dedicated area or space, but an imposing physical structure that can be defined with the different epochs of the tradition of and evolution of history of architecture in India.
Bharat's bazaars that are testimony to time thrive on both tangible and intangible aspects. Tangible aspects are the one which we can touch, feel, and see in real life, whereas intangible aspects are the ones which we can only perceive. Preserving these heritage markets require a balanced approach that integrates conservation efforts with sustainable development strategies. Up until now, we did concentrate a lot on heritage management, but integrating sustainable strategies has become an integral part of it. As we have recognized their social, economic, and cultural contributions, one can ensure that policymakers and communities together can actively take part in continuing the legacy.
Coming to the discussions that are coming out from the findings, we can say that to safeguard the future of this historic bazaars, implementing heritage management plans and adaptive reuse strategies is of utmost importance, where we can preserve the shell to its utmost honesty while changing the uses within. Promoting eco-friendly practices and infrastructural improvements are also extremely significant because it is not just the structure but everything around the precincts that needs improvements by and by. Fostering partnerships between government agencies at all levels, local and national, as well as local communities and every stakeholder that come into this ambit.
So, what is our way forward? We have realized that there is very little documented data available for bazaars in India.
Which means that we must have extensive field research, which is required for more accuracy.
Not all markets have the same typology.
Different types should find space in different sets of researchers.
Understanding of trade, consumer habits in the current scenario is very important for sustenance of markets.
Incorporation of latest technologies could actually help in carrying the bazaars into the future. Thank you ever so much for your patience and understanding.